Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the Digester, and how are we all today? It's great to see you, great to hear you. It's a new month. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, and I'm feeling fine. Bum, bum. What a great song that is. Okay, so, here we go. AP News reports. There are furious Democratic nutters in America, and they are absolutely losing the damn plot because the Supreme Court has outlawed affirmative action. Now, what you may or may not know, there was a kerfuffle a couple of years back because these, critical social justice nutters, right? We're making Asian people get higher marks than black people to get into Yale or Harvard. It was one or the other. I mean, that's the kind of racism that's practiced by the left, okay? So by this particular, I'm going to say the left. I don't mean you nice left people. I don't mean, the left here. I mean the ones over there with the, gender ideology dildo up their bumpies. Right? Okay, so the left, really left, going insane about this. I mean, it's great. You should go and have a look at some of it on Twitter, right? So they passed, that's it, we're done. We're not doing affirmative action anymore. And they're wibbling. Right now, the Supreme Court has come out with a number of things, which I'll go through with you in a minute. But I found the most extraordinary tweet, which was retweeted by Chloe Cole, or responded to by Chloe Cole, who is I believe a detransitioner in America. Hello, Chloe. And it came from a woman called Erica Marsh. Now, surely this has got to be a parody. So the whole thrust of this particular occurrence is that you can no longer go, right, okay, if you get special treatment if you're black, or special treatment if you're whatever it may be they choose. If you believe in gender shit, you get special treatment. So they've done away with it, right? It's all gone. Affirmative action. Out you go, out the window. We need to do the same, by the way. We need to get positive action, which is what we call it. Get out with the Equality Act. No positive action for any groups at all, except one. Disability. That's where the positive action should be taking place, and there's not enough of it. All this time we're spending wibbling on about gender and race. For God's sake, right? Big testy jester. Right, so this quote, this comment on Twitter, it's just unbelievable. Comes from somebody called Erica Marsh, who says, proud Democrat, former field organizer to elect President Biden and volunteer for the Obama Foundation, brackets, she/her, brackets. No surprise there. Nutter. Right, okay, so. In response to the Supreme Court's decision, this is what she said. Then I'll take you through the article, okay? This is what she said about them saying you can't be racist against Asians and whites by using, affirmative action, which is a code word for racism, right? Okay, so today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people, right? No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty. I'm going to read that again so that you can get your head around what exactly she's saying. Today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty. That is racism. I mean, hardcore, ancient racism. Hardcore. Black people are not able, because of their blackness, to compete in the world where their merit, i.e. how brilliant they are or how competent they are, is the factor that gets them where they want to go. Right? Quite frankly, missus, all you're missing is a white hood, you vile creature. Ku Klux Klan were Democrats, by the way. Did you know that? Just so you know. This is so close to the thinking. She's implying that black people are secondary to everybody else. She's implying that black people are incapable. She's implying that black people are a subpar group of people. It's the most disgusting thing I've read in a long time. This is what affirmative action gets you. Racism. Racism. She also supports gender ideology because she's got she, her in it. They're all the same. It's all the same thing, okay? All the same thing. That is, frankly, unbelievable. I mean, I was so gobsmacked by it, I had to take pause. When It's like, what? Excuse me, pardon, what, who? So, the Supreme Court were obviously making a decision about this based on these admissions things. Let's see what they had to say about it, because I think it's fascinating. The Supreme Court on Thursday struck down affirmative action in college admissions, declaring race cannot be a factor and forcing institutions of higher education to look for new ways to achieve diverse student bodies. The only diverse student bodies we need are ones that are based on meritocracy. Genius level. We'll get there with help. We'll get there with more support. Right? One-to-one support. We'll never get there. That's it. Right? Meritocracy. You want to be the best? You want to be paid as someone who's the best? You want to be the best in your field? Then get out and do it. Right? Because do it. Follow your dreams. Right? Follow your dreams about what you want to be. Find something you're passionate about and then do it. Somebody once said, if you find a job that you enjoy and that you love, you'll never work another day in your life. I can tell you that's true. Okay? That's true. So, the reality of this is, they're saying forcing higher education to look for new ways to achieve diverse student bodies. It's not what it does at all. It's saying stop wasting your time with crap. Okay? Except this is being reported by Mark Sherman from the Washington News. Okay? So that's what they're making it appear like. Because it says at the top, divided Supreme Court outlaws affirmative actions. What Supreme Court outlawed it? That'll do. Not divided. They've outlawed it. So this is coming from a perspective that this is a bad thing, which I think is just marvellous because they're trying to obfuscate out of the truth. Right, so it gets worse, right? So what they say next, that the court's conservative majority, it's not because it's wrong, right? The court's conservative majority effectively overturned cases reaching back 45 years in invalidating admission plans at Harvard and the University of North Carolina, the nation's oldest private and public colleges, respectively. The decision, like last year's momentous abortion ruling, so they're now trying to force team this with abortion. So if you don't discriminate against Asians, you're the same as somebody who thinks abortion shouldn't be allowed. If you think you shouldn't discriminate against people because of their colour, then you're the same as somebody who thinks abortion shouldn't be allowed. That's how the left work, isn't it? Sneaky little bastards. The right do it too, just happens to be the left doing it this time, right? Okay. The realisation of long-sought conservative legal goal was Roe versus Wade being overturned, this time finding that race-conscious admissions, that's a code for racism, plans violate the Constitution. Really? All men are created equal, blah, blah, blah. You're damn right it violates the Constitution. It always did. And a law that applies to colleges that receive federal funding, as almost all do. So so it violates not just the Constitution, but a law that covers federal funding for colleges. So it was illegal on 2 levels. And they're still going, but racism. I don't like it up 'em. I'm getting to say that an awful lot lately, and it's glorious to watch the fall of this revolting empire. Those schools will be forced to reshape their admission practices, especially top schools that are more likely to consider the race of applicants. Good. They're fuming. Chief Justice John Roberts said that for too long universities have concluded wrongly that the touchstone of an individual's identity is not challenges bested, skills built, or lessons learned, but the colour of their skin. Our constitutional history does not tolerate that choice. Brilliant. From the White House, President Joe Biden said he strongly disagreed with the court's ruling. This man can't find his own bum in the dark. You could sum up America in one word. Foot. If you haven't seen that, go see it. It's so funny. Foot. If I can find it, I'll stick it on the end. Right. He strongly disagreed with the court's ruling and urged colleges to seek other routes to diversity rather than let the ruling be the last word. What? He's telling colleges to find a way to defy the law of the Supreme Court. You couldn't make this up. You couldn't make it up. Besides the conservative-liberal split, the fight over affirmative action shows the deep gulf between the 3 justices of colour. They're so sick. each of whom wrote separately and vividly about race in America and where the decision might lead. Justice Clarence Thomas, the nation's second black justice, can't help themselves, can they? Who had long called for an end to affirmative action, wrote that the decision sees the university's admission policies for what they are: rudderless, race-based preferences designed to ensure a particular racial mix in their entering classes. This is equity writ large. This is what equity is, you see. Equity must have 5% of this, 2% of that, 3% of that, like you're making a bloody cake. They're nutters, right? What Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the court's first Latina, wrote in dissent that the decision rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress. Tough, Mrs. Right? Tough. Both Thomas and Sotomayor, the two justices who have acknowledged affirmative action played a role in their admission to college and law school, took the unusual step of reading summaries of their opinions aloud in the courtroom. That's because they're butter. In a separate dissent, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the court's first black female justice, called the decision truly a tragedy for us all. It's insane. It's insane. Oh. Jackson, who sat out the Harvard case because she had been a member of an advisory governing board, wrote, with let them eat cake obliviousness today, the majority pulls the ripcord and announces colour blindness for all by legal fiat, but deeming race irrelevant in law does not make it so in life. The vote was 6-3 in the North Carolina case and 6-2 in the Harvard case. Justice Elena Kagan was the other dissenter. Biden, who quickly stepped before cameras at the White House, said of the nation's colleges, they should not abandon their commitment to ensure student bodies of diverse backgrounds and experience that reflect all of America, he said. Colleges should evaluate adversity overcome by candidates. So, you know, as if they don't already do that, right? As if colleges don't go, right, with a bit of help, this individual, no matter who they are, whatever the colour, it doesn't matter who they are, whether they're male, female, it doesn't matter, right? This individual has had their background's extraordinary and they've got where they are. That shows that they're unbelievably capable. And not only that, they've achieved what they've achieved so far, even though they've had that problem. You don't think for 1 second that college professors and people that are associated with recruitment don't have the nous to see somebody who is able to do and get through great adversity. That's the kind of people that we want. The problem you've got is it takes the eye off the ball when you obsess over race. It says here, in fact, an applicant for admission still can write about and consider, and colleges can consider how race affects his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. But the institutions may not simply establish through application essays or other means the regime we hold unlawful today. Go and have a read of the article. I put it in the Dubras as usual. This is fascinating stuff, isn't it? I mean, you're right at the top of the tree now, the Supreme Court. Meritocracy, okay, ability. Meritocracy, ability. That's it. Okay? The only affirmative action that should exist is that for people who have a disability and who need help to get to work. Because they're bloody capable. It's just that we're not capable of making an environment good for disabled people. That'll be the thing, right? So go and think about that. Go and mull it, all right, okay? The Supreme Court has closed down affirmative action. Rishi Sunak needs to do the same and get positive action out of the Equality Act. And the sooner he does, the better. See you later, good peeps. Keep fighting.